Thank you for tuning in to Retiring Well this week. We're here to help you plan to retire well. We have some great topics lined up for you today for the guys here in the Northern Michigan office to be walking through with you, and hopefully you find them very valuable. To start off the show, we're going to be talking about Social Security COLA. Now in 2024 here, there was that little bit of a raise along. What does that look like, and how could that potentially impact your income taxes? Then diving into how do you take your nest egg and turn that into retirement income. You've been saving all of these years, now it's time to retire. It's got to generate a paycheck, right? Then we're going to dive into working in retirement. You know, maybe it's out of necessity, maybe it's out of passion or wanting to have fulfillment, but what does working in retirement look like, and what are some of the things you have to watch out for so you don't get penalized? And then to wrap up the show, we're going to be talking about some mistakes that you want to make sure you avoid but can be commonly done in retirees. So again, we're going to be talking about these topics and so much more out there this week right here on Retiring Well.
Retiring Well, brought to you by Centennial Wealth Advisory, financial advisors specializing in retirement planning and serving all of Northern Michigan. Retiring Well, helping you plan for a successful and comfortable retirement. Retiring Well. Plan to retire well.
The 2024 Social Security COLA and your tax bill. So the COLA, that stands for Cost of Living Adjustment. And basically what it is it's Social Security's way to help offset the rising inflation and that eating into your Social Security benefit. So how they determine your cost of living adjustment every year is they look at the third quarter of the current year that you're in, and they look at the consumer price index, and then they go back to the previous year and look at where the consumer price index was at that point in time. And they use that data to determine how much your cost of living adjustment, or COLA, is going to be for the next year. So I'm sure you probably remember, but last year in 2023 was one of the biggest COLA adjustments that we've had in the last 40 years. Okay, so it was a big one. It was 8.7%. Well, for this year, for 2024, the Social Security COLA adjustment is just 3.2%. Again, it's all based on inflation and so forth. So if we look back at the average monthly premium for Social Security, last year it was $1,796 per month, and then with this cost of living adjustment, the average Social Security benefit goes up, and it's about $1,856 per month, okay, with that 3.2% bonus. So, you know, a lot of people, when, the end of the year comes around and they hear the cost of living adjustment, one of the big concerns is, well, I'm showing more income. Not a bad thing, but on the tax side, how does that extra income with that COLA adjustment affect my tax brackets and the whole tax picture, right? Well, you got to think of it in a way that the IRS is also looking at that too, right? They actually do update those different tax bracket income thresholds year over year according to, inflation and how much Social Security is being adjusted as well. So for 2024, those tax brackets, so the 12% tax bracket, the 22, 24, and so forth, the income thresholds for each one, they went up 5.4%. So one of the big concerns right there is, I got more on Social Security, am I going to bump up to the next tax bracket? Typically, just that COLA adjustment alone is not going to force you up into the next tax bracket. However, rising costs with inflation, bread and milk are costing more, right? So maybe the COLA adjustment isn't bumping you up into the next tax bracket, but potentially you're now needing more money from the portfolio, right? You need more income to cover the increase in bread and milk and so forth. So that could potentially push you into the next tax bracket. Now, one thing on the Social Security side that really hasn't changed in the last 40 some years, since like 1993 or so, is how they determine how much of your Social Security is taxable. So it's kind of a longer formula, but for ease of math, all you do is really take 50% of your Social Security, and then you add in all the other income that you have, and that's what they use to determine how much of your Social Security is taxable. So for an example, a married couple, if you have less than $32,000 of income, none of your Social Security would become taxable. But if $32,000, or if you show income between $32,000 and $44,000, then up to 50% of your Social Security could become taxable. And then, if for a married couple, if you show over $44,000 of income, then up to 85% of your Social Security could become taxable. So while the COLA adjustment does make you have a little bit more Social Security, the real big thing is, okay, how is inflation affecting my expenses, and how much more am I needing to pull from the portfolio, and how does that affect my overall tax bill? Please, if you have any questions on taxes, tax planning, here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we have a whole team that just does taxes, so we'd be happy to help. Don't forget, check us out on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/retiringwell. Like us, share us, and don't forget to subscribe.
Hi, my name is Jack Klunder, and I am a financial advisor with Centennial Wealth Advisory. I work out of our Cadillac office, and we specialize in retirement planning. We take a very holistic approach. We can help go through all the different aspects of planning that are involved in retiring well. So if you are nearing or in retirement and you have questions that you want to go over, please give the number on the screen a call, and we can have and set up a free, no obligation consultation.
Make the most of Social Security. Although Social Security isn't designed to cover all of your income needs, it's an important part of the retirement puzzle. Download our free booklet on the Social Security decisions at sin-wealth.com and learn how to optimize Social Security for your situation, why timing is so important when it comes to your benefits, ways to supplement your Social Security, and more. There is no cost and no obligation. Simply go to sin-wealth.com, scroll down, and click the download link to get your free booklet on the Social Security decisions.
You've probably heard that phrase, let your money work for you. Well, that's passive income. So I'm going to be sharing with you, if you say have $500,000 or whatever the dollar amount might be, and how to then generate what you call passive income. So again, it's earning money on your money with little to no effort. So let's start talking through, there's several ways to go about this, but you need to consider a lot of different factors. So first off, you can look at fixed income, such as bonds as an example. They may provide you a stable income stream, and they're going to be considered less volatile than stocks. But again, there's a variety of different factors and a variety of different types of bonds and different levels of risk that come along with that, such as municipal bonds, and then with that particular municipality, what risk they have of going bankrupt. There's dividend-paying stocks. These are going to be well-established companies typically that are going to have maybe paying dividends of 25 or greater years. Those are referred to as dividend aristocrats. Examples of those may include McDonald's or Walmart. And then you have stocks increasing dividends over time for, let's say, 50 plus years. These are going to be referred to as your dividend kings. 3M or Procter & Gamble are examples of those types of stocks. Another potential type of passive income involves real estate. Although some of you real estate investors may not necessarily consider it passive investment, as I was born and raised here in Traverse City, and my parents owned a 6-unit apartment complex near downtown Traverse City. And when Dad got the call at 9 p.m. that the water heater was broken, and he went to go and work on that, that wasn't necessarily a passive or no responsibility with that. But there's different management companies, obviously, that you can pay. But there's other different types of real estate investments you can get into, different types of funds that are going to, where you can be passive with that, but you want to be cautious of the different risks, especially from a liquidity standpoint. If you want to get your money out of that real estate investment, what's sort of the time frame that you might be looking at there? There's different types of businesses, maybe online businesses where you can collect different subscription fees. Maybe there's laundromats, vending machines. Again, there may be different levels of work expected with that. But be cautious with any business venture, obviously, going into it. If it doesn't work out, then you need to be prepared for what that loss might look like. High yield savings accounts. One site you can visit is bankrate.com, and you can look at different high yield savings accounts rates, different CD rates, whatever the different banks are offering out there. And you might be pleasantly surprised if you haven't been paying attention to where interest rates have shifted here over the past couple of years. You want to, again, read through all the details and be cautious before you take any action, and not necessarily passive, but maybe you could turn a hobby into a business. I know several folks that I've known over the years have been able to do different woodworking, there's welding, photography, all sorts of different crafts, and now there's online sites such as Etsy that have made it a lot easier for those self-employed individuals that want to take a hobby and generate some additional income. So the key thing there is find something that you love and you have a passion for, and maybe you can make a little extra income to enjoy during your retirement years. One of the things that we see a lot of people who do a good job saving for retirement, but they don't necessarily know how to turn that money into an income stream. So that's something that here at Centennial Wealth Advisory, we specialize in focusing on retirement planning, looking at how to structure your portfolio to generate an income. And a key piece to keep in mind with that is the taxation of that money. So if you have traditional IRA or 401k funds that you're drawing from, you want to be cautious of what that additional income is going to look like when it comes to the taxes and how to best structure that. So alongside that, we also then get into communicating on your estate planning and different insurance planning and how that all comes together as a cohesive plan. So if you're in a situation where you're not quite sure how to go about those next steps of retirement, we'd love to sit down with you, have a conversation, and ultimately help you plan to retire well.
As you are planning for retirement, where's your journey taking you? Do you know where you are going? How are you going to get there? And what's the best route to take? Do you have a personal retirement roadmap? At Centennial Wealth Advisory, we specialize in retirement planning, and we have designed a complimentary retirement roadmap video series that can be customized based on your personal circumstance and preferences. There is no cost and no obligation. Simply go to cen-wealth.com/roadmap and provide us with some basic information that will guide you to your on-demand, customized retirement roadmap video. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well. Living life isn't always easy. It puts up challenges and obstacles you'll have to overcome. There are responsibilities. You put in effort to provide and take care of your family. And to save and invest, to balance work and life. Planning is the first step to succeeding. Plan to retire well.
You made it. Years of hard work, investing, planning, and now you're here. The long-awaited reward you spent a lifetime looking forward to. But what now? After years of growing a nest egg, now you may want to manage it. Use it to fund your dreams. Make it last as long as you need it. And leave some for those you love. So what do? Wall Street continues to be uncertain, and some conservative options have dropped through the floor. How do you maintain opportunities for growth and reduce risk of loss from market changes? That's where we come in. We are financial professionals. From investments and insurance products to tax reduction strategies and guaranteed retirement income you cannot outlive, provided by the claims-paying ability of insurance companies. You've worked a lifetime to get here. Let us help you enjoy it to the fullest. For a complimentary consultation, simply contact us today.
You've worked maybe 20, 30, 40 years or more, and retirement is here or on the doorstep. But for whatever reason, you'd like to continue working, whether that's because you think you need to for financial reasons, or maybe because you want to have some purpose or just have something to fill your time. We're seeing that nationwide, more and more retirees or older Americans are working, whether that's staying in the workforce longer or going back and doing something different. So kind of when we look at this, it's different to examine kind of what this looks like now. You know, with so many remote work options now out there, that workforce has changed a little bit. Sometimes folks are able to retire from that career they've always had or been working at for many years and able to work from home, maybe kind of dictating their own hours and doing something maybe less strenuous than what they were doing. You know, some of the stuff like online teaching, online tutoring, digital sales and digital marketing sort of thing, consulting, you know, kind of being like a virtual coach of some kind, whether that's, you know, life, learning, you know, speech, writing, there's all sorts of different things out there. I mean, when you kind of look at that work from home environment, boy, the sky's the limit, right? So we're seeing some folks go in that directions. Other ones are sticking more to kind of your traditional brick and mortar building types of employments where they're physically going into the office, right? So that's a choice of that. So when we look at going back to work or staying at work, be careful during this time. One, if you're collecting Social Security, okay? If you're not full retirement age, you're going to be restricted by that earnings limitation on Social Security. In the year 2024, that earnings limit is $22,320 annually. So you have to be careful not to exceed that. Otherwise, they're going to start penalizing your Social Security. They're going to start pulling back $1 for every $2 you earn, basically. So that's a pretty steep penalty that you want to be aware of. Obviously, too, from a taxation standpoint, the more income you have, potentially the higher the tax bracket's going to put you in. So be aware of that as well. But overall, we find it very interesting when we're kind of starting to look at this. The Pew Research Center did a study on this not long ago, and they've learned that over the last 35 years, the workforce of older Americans has doubled that's still in the workforce. That's substantial. They're saying that 19% of Americans that are 65 and older are still in the workforce. Why is that? Well, some of it's out of financial necessity. They just have to, right? They don't have, maybe didn't have, fortunately have the savings along the way, something's happened, has sort of dictated that. You know, one thing is we're living longer and we're generally healthier. So we're able to kind of stay in that. Also think of it, the workforce or the demands of jobs has changed. There's more office types environments. Earlier I talked about remote work, right? That allows you to stay in the workforce longer, typically than more of a labor or strenuous type of career where it's physically taxing on your body or stuff like that. So again, you know, kind of different factors that are doing this. So it's interesting. You know, we look at that three-legged stool in retirement with the different forms of income, Social Security, you know, pension or guaranteed incomes, and some forms of investments. You know, some folks maybe are lacking one of those legs, so they're using employment to make up for that and balance that out over time. So as you are sitting there pondering maybe your upcoming retirement, or maybe you're already in this situation, hopefully you found something that is enjoyable and is maybe not so strenuous and gives you some flexibility so you still can do some of those retirement dreams that you've wanted. But again, there's options out there, and consult with your financial planner and your advisor kind of how those options play a role on your other aspects, whether it's your Social Security, as we talked about earlier, whether it's your investments and your taxation, how those sort of things, and how should you be handling them as part of your plan. Again, as when we talk about this, it's really important to have a holistic retirement plan. Even if you're still working, you need to have this plan so you have something you're working for. Basically, that way we have something to shoot for and something to aim for and adjustments to be made in that meantime. If you have questions about this or anything else, we'd love to hear from you. Or even if you'd like to have a short 15-minute call with us to ask a few questions or see if Centennial Wealth Advisory would be a fit for you and your retirement plan, we'd love to have that no cost, no obligation talk with you to see how we can help you plan to retire well so you don't have to go back to work if you don't want to.
Are you nearing retirement or in retirement? Have you had your portfolio just looked at or have a second opinion on that portfolio recently? Centennial Wealth is a full-service advisory firm, and we have multiple locations in northern Michigan. I'm in the Gaylord office primarily. The office is right downtown Gaylord. Also up in the Petoskey office as well. That office is right off of 31. I'd love to hear your story. I'd love to sit down and chat, and it's a free, no-obligation consultation, so just call the number on the screen.
What can Retirement Analyzer do for you? Retirement Analyzer is a software tool that can help you prepare today for your financial future. You've worked hard to save for your retirement, but as you near your retirement, you may have concerns. Have I positioned my retirement savings wisely? Have I saved enough for retirement, and will my savings last throughout my lifetime? What impact could inflation have on my future expenses? What if I suffer a long-term illness? Will I have enough money to cover my medical care expenses and still be able to meet my other financial obligations? Could changes in the income tax rates disrupt my retirement strategy? There's no need to be in the dark as you prepare for your retirement. Retirement Analyzer can help you find answers to all these questions and more. The first step is providing us with information on your financial assets, the type and current value of those assets, as well as your sources of income. Then, we work with you to identify your expected expenses in retirement. This will include a discussion of the lifestyle you envision in retirement, travel, a summer residence, whatever you dream your retirement will be. We'll input the information you provide us into the Retirement Analyzer, and in a very short time we'll have reports that show us the percentage of assets currently in high-risk vehicles as well as the percent in lower-risk products. Retirement Analyzer enables us to project your income from year to year in your retirement and see how long your retirement savings may last. As we change the conditions of the report, delaying your retirement date, including costs for long-term care, adjusting the expected tax rate, or adjusting your retirement strategies, we can see how changes in these variables may impact your income in retirement and the longevity of your retirement savings. Let the Retirement Analyzer help you test drive your retirement strategy today, because the time to discover the bumps in the road is not once your trip through retirement has begun. Contact our office today to schedule an appointment for your Retirement Analyzer review.
Hey, welcome to the segment on how to avoid retirement mistakes. I want to start with a quick story of my identical twin sons. I've learned that they approach learning in different ways. My son Jackson can quickly be corrected with words. We can just give them warnings and talk to him, and he's going to listen and follow suit. My son Breck, on the other hand, he has to learn through experience. How did I learn this? Well, the first time I learned it was when I was pouring cement at my house. And the twins were right there in the garage looking at that wet cement. And I said, Jackson, don't step, it's wet cement, don't do it. And then I looked at Breck and I said, Breck, don't take another step. And Breck looked at me and slowly put his foot out, pushed his foot into that cement and experienced what wet cement felt like, okay? I left it in my driveway because I know there's gonna be a time, maybe when he's 16 years old, where I need to come back and point to that and be like, you know, you had to experience the pain of mistakes and regret. Maybe we could work on using words and wisdom to avoid them. So, sorry for that long-winded story, but hopefully you can understand, maybe look through the lens of what we see retirement mistakes look like. The first one is not getting an early start, missing out on compound interest, missing out on the time when they're early in life and putting that money away and then letting time do some of the work. You know, they all of a sudden look at 40, 50 years old and they say, oh, I better start saving for my imminent retirement. And we find that, okay, well, it's gonna be a little bit longer than what you had anticipated. The next one is reducing their savings over time. You know, sometimes when they first start working young, saving their 4 or 5%, and then as time goes on in life, kids, vacations, finding stuff to need, getting in the way, and all of a sudden their savings are going down as they get closer to retirement. The next one, overlooking contribution opportunities. You know, as soon as you turn age 50, your 401k, your IRAs have different catch-up provisions. The amount of money that you can put in increases. And so when people either don't know about that or don't care about that, then they're missing these opportunities to get aggressive in their savings, in their tax diversification, you know, later in their higher earning years a lot of times. The next one is putting all their funds in one place. How much market risk do you have? And by that I mean how much bond market risk and how much stock market risk do you have? You know, what are your no market risk alternatives? The feds have raised rates 15 times in counting, and that's given us some no market risk money that is something everybody should be looking at, I think, to see how they can have some diversification in their risk buckets. The next one is carrying too much debt. On the heels of those interest rates coming up, we see a lot of people with these home equity line of credits or these variable interest rates on debt, and that went from, you know, a 2-3% up to 7, 8, 9, 10%. And so being able to take care and not carry that debt and pay all that interest out is a huge mistake you can avoid. The next thing is not considering housing possibilities. If you're nearing retirement or in retirement and you're worried about what it might cost, do a quick Google search. Top 10 cheapest places to retire in the United States. I think you'll be interested to see what different places and different taxes and different costs of living there are in the United States. But people get locked into this is home, and that can be good too, but you know, just opening yourself to other possibilities, you know, could avoid those expensive places if that's where you're living. The next one would be overestimating your nest egg. Okay, this is where you know, you've experienced inflation, and what you thought your spending was going to be each month has gone up, and you're going through your budget and you're saying, where did all the money go? Well, our eggs went for half the budget, right? You know, you just all the spending and inflation. So people that don't have a really good long-term written out income plan can get in trouble there. The next one is forgetting your tax planning, okay? They just put their nose down, they go to work, and they become singularly focused on one tax bucket, and that can be a huge mistake. And then finally, not looking into long-term care. That might be a risk that you want to deal with. So, hope you enjoyed this segment. Have a great day. We'll see you next week.